This video we're going to go over some of the top stocks that I'm watching right now and a little bit of a market update. So let's start off by talking about the S&P 500 because I see on social media people are starting to freak out after 2 red days in a row. And you have to remember the seasonality. Remember what's pushing the market. Remember that this is an election year, Q4. Market's really strong and it's going to continue strong throughout the rest of the year. And I'm very confident when I say that. So when we talk about a pullback, I'm looking at maybe a move to the 20 moving average here before moving higher. Right, that's just a healthy little pullback, but the rally will continue forward, especially going into the later stages of December where we have, the notable Santa Claus rally, as everyone likes to mention, and just other factors that gravitate, or I should say, lift the market up during that period of time. But anyway, I just want to mention that. And yes, look, things are pulling back. I've lightened up my positions, and I've taken a lot of positions off the table near the highs. So my account really has seen a very, very small drawdown, which is awesome because I'm light on positions now and very close to the highs on the equity curve. So that's really nice because it puts me in a position where I'm kind of on the sidelines, but I'm watching a lot of setups. And once the setups start firing again, you get in and you ride the next wave. So anyway, what are these setups, right? That's kind of what I want to get at. And I wanted to find a few names that are not really being talked about on social media. If you're an active swing trader, and I'm just giving you the basic names that you've heard a million times, it wouldn't be as interesting as this list. So let's get into some of these names. So the first one I want to talk about is Rivian. Rivn, EV. So Rivian has been a pretty weak performer since its inception, and I believe that was 2021 when they IPO'd, they IPO'd in November 2021. As you can see here, it fell, and then now we have a beautiful wedge that it formed. So it put a bottom in right here at about $8 a share in April, and then it makes a higher low, or another higher low here, but this is the higher low I'd be referring to right here at about $10, and now it's floating up and it's starting to break that weekly downtrend. This reminds me a lot of the AI setup. This is actually very similar to the AI setup, right? So it IPO'd, very similar chart, drops down, big decline, and then look at that beautiful wedge, and then you get a massive pop out of this wedge. So similar formation. I don't like the EV stocks too much, but look, Tesla's been performing well. Maybe we get a little bit of a turnaround with the EV stocks if the market gets hot and starts pushing the growth names. But again, Rivian isn't as crappy a company as some of these other EVs like Lucid. So as a result, it has the potential to maybe get into the $25 level. That would be awesome. But anyway, we're looking at it here at 14 and go to the daily. See, it's just trying to break out. It's had a really nice rally into where it is right now, but I'm looking here, had an inside day, and maybe it forms a little bit of a base here. So you get the breakout of the larger, wedge, larger downtrend, and then you form a little bit of a launch pad. This is similar to what AI did. This is similar to what a lot of stocks do when they're breaking out of large downtrends. They don't just immediately shoot up. They don't just immediately just rocket. I mean, it's possible, but typically they're going to form a little bit of a base right above that breakout. It's like right above a support level. And this gives us a great opportunity to enter with solid risk reward. A lot of benefits to that, and overall it's very easy for us to snatch these setups up. So Rivian's really nice, and I think it's a name that should definitely be on your radar. Really good, nice position. I entered Grab. So this is a trade I entered yesterday. Today it moved higher. So some decent volume. I don't have tons of confidence on this one, even though the volume was pretty decent. I'm questioning its ability to really make a big move in the shorter term. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully it does. The volume was pretty good, and look, it did push above a nice little resistance it had going. I mean, this was really nice, actually, nice consolidation. Tapped that 20 EMA and pushed off of that. So I think it's pretty nice. I want to see if there's continuation. I'm in this already, but it's not a large position. So, but hopefully it moves well. It looks pretty good. So IBIT, I mean, this isn't really an under the radar name or anything, but it's important to talk about Bitcoin. Obviously, we've had a beautiful, we've had a beautiful base break on IBIT, but looking at it now, I think it still looks really good. So Bitcoin has done a couple fake outs now at the 100K level, and it'll shake a few people out. It'll take a few of the weekends out, but I really don't think that it's dropping below the 20. I think some people are kind of thinking that Bitcoin's going to pull back before it recovers, and then gets a move. But I think it's pretty strong here. There's still a lot of buying. It's bouncing off the 20 EMA. I think it looks pretty good. We'll see if it holds up. Right, it's currently making higher lows, so I'm curious to see if it continues to do that. And sorry guys, I don't know why it's giving me an issue to delete a line. Okay, yes, it's currently making higher lows, right? And I just want to see if it can continue tightening up, and then eventually it's going to get the actual breakout. I think it'll get the actual breakout, and then the real move will come. And then the volume will, increase, and we'll get a nice end of the year rally in Bitcoin. But look, I think this consolidation is nice. A lot of people are a little concerned because it just seems like Bitcoin's been going higher and higher and higher, and then now it's stalling a little bit. But this is a really good setup, and it's actually getting nicer and nicer every day. So you could trade IBIT. There's leveraged Bitcoin ETFs, there's MicroStrategy, there's leveraged MicroStrategy. So the miners I wouldn't trade right now because of the quantum news, right? So Google released the Willow, which is the quantum computer that will be able to mine, has the capabilities of mining Bitcoin much faster than any other, computer out there. So that's definitely a headwind for a lot of these miners, and you definitely see that reflected in today's action. The miners have a big headwind now. They were already laggards, and now they're going to be super laggards. So just food for thought. ZK, this is a name that really no one's talking about. And I think it's a really compelling setup. So this is a Chinese EV. Actually, they have big revenues, I have to say. So big revenues, but anyway, they lose money, which is obviously not a surprise. Most EV companies do. Tesla's a little bit of a rarity in that sense. But anyway, if you look at ZK, I'm looking at this IPO. I'm looking at a few things, right? The IPO high, and then we have this right here. This is the main formation, main structure. So I'm just looking for a break out of this downtrend, seeing if it, can get some volume and then takes out this 32, which is the IPO high. There's definitely upside here. Whether or not the company becomes overvalued, if it is overvalued, that for something like this is not as important to me. We've seen plenty of EVs completely disconnect from reality in the past. VFS is the most notable example I can think recently. This is really just garbage. Vietnamese EV company. I mean, they were worth more than GM and Ford at this peak level here. So to get a really big move, we can disconnect from reality. And it's a China name. The chart looks good. I like what I see. What's going on? Oh, I like what I see. Recent, more of a recent IPO. I mean, this IPO'd in May of 24. So there's a lot of price discovery to be made here, so that's obviously interesting to me, and maybe it'll develop a little bit of a flag here, which allows it to break out and really get a move on. So I'm interested in this. It's pretty nice. I like it. Airbnb. This is a great setup. This is pretty much textbook. So you zoom out, you look in the weekly, it's like, okay, well, we have this downtrend, right? And then it really had a slump in this August period. Not the earnings, I guess, were not, obviously the earnings were not to investors' liking. It recovered from there, right? So now it's rubbing up against the resistance, right, to maybe break out of this downtrend. And then you look to see what's going on in the short term, and on the daily here, such a beautiful little flag developing. Like, this is so nice, this consolidation. A lot of support. You can see there's a lot of accumulation here. So they're basically, it's just waiting to make the actual breakout. That would be really, really nice move, I think. It's not going to be massive, but it's going to be a consistent, a good RR trade. Maybe, you know, I would be targeting something like 152 would be like a nice target. I wouldn't really, I mean, it obviously could go higher, but I think, you know, consistent target on something like this would be around 150. But this is a beautiful setup, right? You have, you know, some ugly performance, you know, reversal in the structure, and then you have, you know, it floats up into the resistance, and then it builds like that launch pad we were referring to, getting ready to really get that nice clean breakout. So this is super nice, and I already have a position in Airbnb. I really like it. You know, low risk. This is low risk. You can have a very tight stop loss, and the upside's good. So kind of, or I should say pretty much textbook stuff. And I think it's gone under the radar. Like, this isn't a setup that I see a lot of traders talking about, and when I refer to other traders, I'm always browsing through X and seeing what setups people find. So I'm just saying, like, that's not really something I see a lot of people talking about. CELH. So CELH, this is pretty nice, right? So it had terrible performance over the last few months here, last several months, I should say. And I think this structure right here, this is a very bottom-like move here. I'm looking at the key level of about 31.5, 31.4. A breakout of this level with some volume could send it to about 40 to 45. That's kind of what I'm targeting here. I'm also thinking about CLH. I think it might have a similar development to Square if they can hold on from a financials perspective, where, you know, it was you know, basing out here, broke the base, makes a big move, comes back, and then builds another base. But in the short term, you know, even if this doesn't do much for the next couple of years, it really all depends on, you know, the company's financials and everything, how they perform. But even if it doesn't do anything for the next 2 years, in the short term, it could certainly get a nice little dead cat bounce or like snapback into 44, 45 territory. You know, you could just see this formation is nice, and breaking out over this, 3150 level would be kind of the key level to get into that, to kind of initiate that move, I should say. So again, a little bit more of a speculative position, but if it works, it'll pay off well, especially if you're trading options on something like this one. So short-term move, more speculative, but something, this is targeted, this trade would be for individuals that have a little bit more experience, I should say. So anyway, that's going to conclude this video. If you want to see some other videos, go to the profile. Some of those setups are still valid. Also, guys, just make sure to sub. The Discord is free in the description. X, obviously, in the description. I post a lot of great setups there. So go check all that stuff out, guys. And I'll be back tomorrow with some more setups. But that'll be today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.